Ladies and gentlemen, here she is, the queen of comedy, Wanda.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. A man was in the shower, taking a shower, and his little boy ran through the shower, and he saw his daddy's nuts hanging down. He stopped, he said, "Daddy!" He said, "What are those hanging down?" His daddy picked him up, he said, "Oh, honey," he said, "that ain't nothing but nuts." He said, "Nuts?" His daddy said, "Yes." He said, "You mean the kind you put on the rock and crack?" His daddy said, "Hell no, son, the kind you put in the crack and rock." There were two cowboys. They came into this town. They was looking for a place to stay. All the hotels was full because they had a convention in town. So they went to a rooming house and they knocked on the door. The landlady came to the door. They said, "Look," he said, "we two cowboys and we don't have no place to stay. And we want to know if we can stay here." So the landlady says, "Well," she says, "I got enough room for one cowboy and maybe your friend can stay over next door at my lady friend's." So they said, "Well, that's all right with us as long as we close together." Anyway, one cowboy went in one house, the other cowboy went in the other lady's house. So that night, the cowboy, he said to the landlady, he says, "You know," he said, "I kind of like to fuck a little bit." So the landlady said, "Well, it's all right with me." She said, "I'll do it." She said, "I'll give you a little bit." She said, "But don't tell the woman next door because she's a loud mouth and she'll have it all over the neighborhood in the morning." The cowboy says, "I won't tell her a damn word." So they went to bed and they got together. They started screaming, "Hi, Daddy!" Shit. How? Who? Fuck me. Do it to him, baby. How? How? Oh, I'm coming, Daddy. Oh, honey, shit, he fucked that bitch till the time got better, honey. Over in the next house, the other cowboy was doing the same thing with his landlady. The next morning, the two cowboys want to tell each other what they had done. So the cowboy in the next house, he opened the window and he yodeled over to the other cowboy. He said, "I did it to the landlady." The other cowboy yodeled back. He said, "And I did it to the landlady too." You know, Santa Claus came down a lady's chimney one Christmas, and he landed in her bedroom. So he said, "Oh, lady, I didn't intend to land in your bedroom." She says, "Oh, that's all right, Santa." So she started pulling off her clothes. So Santa Claus looked at her. He said, "Ho, ho, ho, I must go and take my toys to the girls and boys." So she pulled off her dress. She says, "Oh, Santa, please don't go." Santa Claus looked at her. He said, "Ho, ho, ho, I must go and take my toys to the girls and boys." She pulled off her slip and she got naked and she laid down on the bed with her legs wide open. She said, "Oh, Santa, please don't go." Santa Claus looked at him and rolled his big eyes. He said, "Hey, hey, hey, I must stay. Can't get up the chimney this way." Well, the lady had a whorehouse, and she didn't work nothing but her kinfolks. She worked all her daughters in this whorehouse. So this man, he comes to the whorehouse, and he says, "To tell me, Miss Brown, you got 3 daughters in here that's the fuckingest daughter in the country." She said, "Hell yeah." She said, "I got 3 daughters." She said, "And they can fuck you, baby, and give you anything you want. They'll satisfy you from head to toe." Oh, she just bragging on her daughters. He said, "Well, let me see them, honey." So she said, "Well, take my oldest daughter upstairs." Took the oldest daughter upstairs. He fucked her 3 or 4 hours. Hell, she couldn't give him enough. He come downstairs with his dick in his hand. He looking all around. He said, "Miss Brown," he says, "hell, ain't you got nothing else to fuck in here?" She said, "You mean my oldest daughter didn't give you enough?" He said, "Hell no." She said, "Take my second daughter up there." Took the second daughter upstairs. She fucked him 5 or 6 hours. She couldn't give him enough. He come downstairs with a dick in his hand, looking around. "Miss Brown, goddamn, hell, ain't you got nothing else in here to fuck?" She said, "Look, motherfucker," she said, "you ain't got enough." She said, "Take my baby daughter upstairs." She about 18 years old. He took her upstairs. He fucked her 3 or 4 hours. She couldn't give him enough. He come downstairs with his dick in his hand. He says, God damn, Miss Brown, hell, ain't you got nothing else to fuck? She said, you mean to tell me my $3 didn't give you enough? He said, hell no. She said, come on up here, you motherfucker. She said, I'll give you enough. Hell, she took him upstairs and she fucked the son of a bitch 4 or 5 hours. She couldn't give him enough. Man come downstairs and he looking around and said, hell, bitch, ain't you got nothing else around here to fuck? So she got mad. She took him to the court. And the judge says, Miss Brown, she said, tell the court in your own words just what made you so mad. She said, Judge, Your Honor, I'm so damn mad. Said, this motherfucker came to my house and he fucked my $3 and they couldn't give him enough. He said, I took that motherfucker upstairs and I fucked that son of a bitch and I couldn't give him enough. The judge said, well, what made you so mad, Miss Brown? And when he took his glasses off of his eyes and put him on the head of his dick and said, look around, big boy, and see did you miss anything. The Pet Milk Company put out an entry blank, and it was a jingle, you know, you fill in the last lines. And so on his entry blank, it said, I like pet milk because, and then you fill out the jingle, you know, da-da-da-da-da-da. You got to make it rhyme, see. So this boy, he gets the entry blank, and he fills it out on the kitchen table one night, and he wrote on there, I like pet milk because it comes in cans both large and tall. So he laid it on the table. His sister come in, and she says, oh, she said, here's a pet milk entry blank. I'll fill it out. She fills it out. Next 3 or 4 days, the postman brings her $1,000. So her dad says, daughter, how'd you get this $1,000? She says, oh, I just filled out that pet milk entry blank. He said, well, what the hell did you put on it? She said, well, I just wrote on there, I like pet milk because it comes in cans, both tall and small. No tits to squeeze, no ass to twist. Just punch a hole in the son of a bitch. Was a little boy playing on the railroad track, and the train was coming. His mama saw the train coming. So she said to the little boy, she said, Rascals, get off that railroad track, baby. The train is coming and gonna suck you up. The little boy said, come on, train. Come on. There was a man had a wife, and his wife was cheating on him. He said, look, bitch, he said, I know you cheating on me. He says, and I can't put my finger on it. He said, but I'm gonna buy a parrot. He said, that parrot gonna tell me every damn thing you do. So she said, well, you go right on and buy a damn parrot, because I ain't doing a damn thing. He said, that's okay, we'll see. He goes to the pet store to get a parrot. The man was out of parrots. He says, look, he says, I don't have any more parrots. He said, but I got an owl. He said, you take this owl and you split his tongue with a knife and he'll talk just like a parrot. So the man says, well, okay. He takes the owl home. He forgot to split the owl's tongue. The next morning he went to work. Just as sure as he went to work, here comes the preacher. He pulls off his pants. The owl was sitting up in the cage. He saw this dick hanging out. He grabbed him by the dick. The woman pulled off her dress. He saw all this pussy hanging. He grabbed her in the pussy with the other paw. And he held him, baby. He held him there till the husband come from work. And when the husband come from work, he was so goddamn amazed, he pulled off his hat and he stomped it on the floor. He said, ho, what you got? Ho, what you got? He said, a son of a bitch as smart as you don't need to talk. It was a Chinaman, he went upstairs with a girl, you know, he put the broad in the bed, you know, and he fucked her so damn hard, the damn bed broke down, and the Chinaman fell all the way to the basement on the floor, and the girl landed up in the corner of the room, and she was just hollering, oh, my belly, my belly, my belly. The Chinaman looked up at her, he said, yo, belly, helly, look at my ballie up against the wall. You know what Eve said to Adam in the Garden of Eden one day? She looked at all this dick in his hand. She said, you got the whole world in your hand. You got the great big world in your hand. Your world in your hand. You better believe it, baby. He had it too, honey. You know what rape is? Assault with a friendly weapon. I hate to see my only son go down. I got the son in the morning and the father at night. Peace. All right. Well, the white guy went into a bar one day, and he said to the bartender, he give me a double shot of scotch. Bartender said, yes, sir. Poured him a double shot of scotch. Give me another double shot of scotch. Yes, sir. He poured him another double shot of scotch. Give me another one. He just kept on drinking doubles till he got drunk. He got talking with the bartender there, and so bartender said, look, man, say, you done drank about 10 or 12 double shots of scotch. Say, hell, don't you want to pay your tab off? White man said, what damn tab? Hell, I done paid you. The bartender said, man, you didn't pay me. He said, yes, I did. He said, I paid you. So the white man walked on out. Bartender said, well, maybe he did pay me. Maybe I just didn't remember. So the white man walks out. There's a colored guy standing outside. He said, hey, man, you want to get drunk? He said, yeah, man, I've been laying for a free drunk all night. He said, go into the bar. All you got to do is order what you want, get in a conversation with the bartender. That son of a bitch don't know when you paid him and when you didn't. The man said, you think it'll work? He said, goddamn right. Hell, it worked for me. He goes into the bar, the colored guy. He said, give me a double shot of scotch. Yes, sir. He pours him a double shot of scotch. Give me another double. Yes, sir. He pours him another double shot of scotch. So the colored guy got talking. So the bartender said to the colored guy, he said, you know what? He said, there was a white cat in here just before you. And I kept pouring him double shots of scotch and double shots of scotch. And you know, I don't think that man paid me. The nigga say, look, motherfucker, don't give me that shit. Give me my change. Did you hear about the parrot with the hole in his head? Yeah, this lady had a parrot, you know, and he would tell everything she would do. Every time her husband come home, the first thing this damn parrot would holler, the bitch been fucking, the bitch been fucking, and her husband would beat the hell out of her. So she said to the parrot, she said, look, motherfucker, I done got my ass whooped the last time behind you. I'm gonna knock a hole in your damn head and throw you in the toilet. Well, they had one of them outhouses, you know, the outside toilet. And so she knocked a hole in the parrot's head and she threw him in the toilet. She thought he was dead, but he wasn't dead. The next day, she goes out to use the toilet, and this parrot looks up at her. He says, oh, goddamn, that you can live with that big hole in your ass. I damn sure can live with this little hole in my head. There was a man had a wife, and he worked a split shift. One week he worked days, next week he worked nights. She had a boyfriend, and the week he worked nights, he would come to her house. So this night the boyfriend came to the house. He didn't know the man had changed shift, and he had an act of knocking on the blinds. So he started knocking on the blinds. Bam, bam, bam. So the woman, she was nervous because her husband was home that night, and she started singing. Ain't no need of knocking on the blind. Ain't no need of knocking on the blind. Because my baby is crying and my husband done changed his mind. She trying to hip the nigga, you know, on the outside. Her husband was home. This son bitch ain't caught on yet, you know. He bamming that much harder. Wham, wham, wham on the blind. She sang that much louder. I said, ain't no need of knocking on the blind. Ain't no need of knocking on the blind. Because the baby is crying and my husband done changed his mind. This son bitch still ain't paid no attention. He knocked that much louder. Wham, wham, wham. Damn near knocked the damn blind down. So her husband heard him. So her husband said to the wife, he said, hey, put the titty in that baby's mouth. So she puts the titty in the baby's mouth. And he's knocking, bam, bam, bam. So her husband started singing. He said, ain't no need of knocking on the blind. Ain't no need of knocking on the blind. Because my baby is sucking and I'm doing my own fucking. And it ain't no need of knocking on the blind. was a guy working for a mortuary, and he did all the embalming, to all the dead folks. He was down in the basement embalming this one guy. He turned the guy over, and what do you know? He got a cork stuck up his ass. He pulls the cork out his ass, and the first thing he heard was, Winchester Cathedral! He stuck the cork back in his ass. He said, God damn, I ain't never heard no shit like this. He pulled the cork back out of his ass, the first thing he heard, Winchester Cathedral! He calls his boss on the phone, 4 o'clock in the morning. He said, boss, he said, you got to come down here. He said, you got to hear this. You got to see this. He said, it's unbelievable. He said, get on your clothes, man, and come down here. The boss jumps in his clothes. He goes down to the mortuary. He said, what the hell you want with me this time of morning? He said, listen. He said, you never seen nothing like this in your life. He said, now watch when I pull this cork out this asshole. He pulls the cork out. First thing he heard, Winchester Cathedral! The boss say, you motherfucker. You mean to tell me you got me up at 4 o'clock in the morning just to hear old asshole sing, Winchester Cathedral! Definition of a manufacturer of maternity dresses, a mother frocker. There was 2 pilots flying some sheep from Australia to the United States. And they had about 5,000 sheep on the plane. Anyway, the plane started falling. So the pilot said to the co-pilot, he said, hey man, he said, this plane is falling. He said, get ready to bail out. And so the other pilot looked at him, he says, bail out? He said, yeah man, I mean jump. He said, jump? He said, yeah, man, so we got to jump out of this plane. He said, but what about the sheep? The guy said, fuck the sheep. He looked back at all the sheep and said, man, you think we got time? There was a lady in Mississippi, in Mississippi, they didn't have no washing machines or nothing like they got now. And they had to go to the creek and wash, see. And so this broad, she was at the creek and she was blind, and she was all bent over just washing, with a blind self. Just rub-a-dub-dub, rub-a-dub-dub. So some hunters was out there in the field hunting, and they walked up to her and they stuck the peter in from the back. And it got good to her, and she just kept going up and down. She started singing. She said, I know I'm blind and can't see your face, but I'll be washing here tomorrow in the same old place. Was a colored guy they had him down in Mississippi, and they was gonna hang him, the next day. So he goes, he said, Lord, he said, I ain't never prayed in my life. He said, but this is one time I'm gonna pray. He goes out in the woods. He gets him a big tree all by himself. He said, Lord, have mercy. Yeah. He said, Lord, the white folks gonna hang me in the morning. He said, and I don't want to die, Lord, this morning. He said, because I'm too young to die, Lord. And I want you to come on down here and take me by my hand, Lord. And take me to a safe place. Lord, don't send no angels. And don't send St. Peter, because I don't trust none of them motherfuckers you got up there in heaven. You come on yourself, because I trust you. So the Lord was a little slow about coming. He got back down on his knees. Lord, what the hell the matter with you? Look like you ain't gonna make it down here on time. Hell, it's 10 minutes to 6 now. They're gonna hang my black ass at 7. Come on down here, Lord. Pretty soon the Lord came down. He took him by the hand. He said, okay, darky. He said, come on. I'm going to take you to Mississippi. He said, Lord, don't take me to Mississippi. He said, them damn white folks bad in Mississippi as is in Texas. Say, hell, them white folks will hang my black ass in Mississippi, too. He said, well, okay, come on, darky. He said, I'll take you on over here to Watts. So he took the darky to Watts, California. He set the darky down right in the middle of Watts. And he turned him loose. He said, now, darky, he said, you'll be safe right here. The darky looked up at the Lord. He said, motherfucker, who the hell you calling darky? There was a lady had a husband, And every night he'd get drunk. He'd come home drunk every night. And she was a religious woman. She didn't want the man to come home drunk. But he'd come home drunk every night. So this night he come home. He knocks on the door. Baby, let me in. So she says, you been drinking, rascal? He said, no, I ain't been drinking. She said, blow your breath through the keyhole. Let me smell it. He blow his breath through the keyhole, nothing but whiskey. She said, go away, you been drinking. He goes away. He said, well, I know what I'll do. He said, I'll eat me a can of sardines and this will take the whiskey, set off my breath. He goes, eats a can of sardines. He comes back home. He says, baby, let me in. So she says, you been drinking? No, baby, I swear to damn, I ain't been drinking tonight. Blow your breath through the keyhole. Blows the breath through the keyhole. First thing she smells them sardines. She said, you no good, nasty motherfucker. She said, as soon as I break you in one habit, you go and pick up another one.